Hey there, everybody. Chris Herman here for another solo episode of On Deck. It's great to look into the camera and just imagine all of you sitting there watching and or listening. So it's the theater of the mind. But really, it's just me here with the camera talking to you in some way, shape, or form. I wanted to, today's going to be an interesting topic. Today's topic is 2022 planning. 2022 planning. It is currently nearing the end of September of 2021. Certainly, it has been a very interesting year, to say the least, when it comes to particularly our business, the retail automotive business. I think that if we were all to go back to the beginning of the year and give thought to how this year would pan out, I don't think anybody, or very few, and I haven't met or heard of any of them, would have predicted what has happened, i.e. The chip shortage, massive inventory slowdowns and shutdowns, and the interesting effect that it has had on our business, primarily as a result of low new vehicle inventory. Dealers have shifted their focus to used vehicles. Dealers have been able to charge a premium on new and used vehicle inventory values, through the roof. And this combination, which perhaps initially may have seemed to be problematic for dealers, has turned out to be financially extremely rewarding. I'm sure every one of you out there that's in the retail automotive business is finding the year 2021 to be very profitable and very financially rewarding. And so as we sit here near the end of September looking forward to 2022, this is normally a time of year when we do look forward in our business to forecast and plan the upcoming year. And in doing so here at the agency and talking to our dealers, it leads, for me, a lot of questions. And I think a lot of dealers will have a lot of questions, similar questions as well, too. But how much, and this topic and this conversation today, I'm going to be hypothetically asking a lot of questions. Naturally, none of you are sitting right here, but certainly have the means to reach out, contact me, communicate by making comments and questions in the comment section of the video. But I'm very curious to see what the philosophy and thought process is in the dealer body across the country when it comes to planning for 2022. How are you changing as a business operator or a business manager? How are you changing, or are you changing your thought process and your forecast for 2022? My guess is that the answer is yes. I think a lot of dealers and owners realize that this year has provided a tremendous amount of profitability, which has been a real plus. But I'm pretty certain that the majority of really sharp business owners also realize that this is an unsustainable level of profitability, and what we're experiencing in this industry cannot go on forever. So the question is, how long does it go on? At the agency here, we're changing our whole outlook and forecast really to be one of looking at the next 2 years, 22 and 23, from a very different perspective. And why is that? Well, certainly we've all heard that the chip shortage and the subsequent new vehicle inventory shortage, it sounds like it's not getting any better at all throughout the year of 2022. Now, certainly there's varying viewpoints on that, and I think we all hope that it's going to get better sooner than later. But there's a good chance that 2022 could find us in a very similar position. And we also know that watching and listening to the manufacturers and the leading indicators of this situation over the last 6-7 months, it's like a construction project where the deadline just keeps getting pushed further and further. You think the house is going to be done in fourth quarter, and then now it's going to be first quarter, then it's second quarter, and then it's third, then it's fourth, then we're not going to be done at all in 2022. And so is putting faith in the thought that inventory is going to get better by the end of next year, is that realistic? Or may it take longer? Is this something that we're going to see last into 2023? I asked that question because I've heard also in talking to our dealers that not only are we dealing with chip shortage, but we're starting to see other disruptions in the supply chain, from wiring harnesses, windshields, other parts manufacturers and suppliers not being able to keep up with the demand, or having their own manufacturing challenges in and of themselves. So with all that said, is it safe to say that 2022 is going to be some sort of repeat of 2021 from an inventory perspective? And if so, what do you, the dealer, and what do we as businesses in the supporting industry, how do we best plan for this? I think there's a lot of potential challenges, that dealerships are going to face. As new vehicle inventory remains low, how much are you going to have to change your staffing, right? How many sales associates do you really need to sell a very limited amount of new vehicle inventory? On the used vehicle side, these astronomical values, how long will they stay? Can we expect these super high and super inflated used vehicle values through 2022? And if so, how does that affect the business? Is there still margin in these cars if the dealers are having to step up significantly from the investment side to buy used vehicles? Will there still be the large margins available? Will the large margins on new vehicle inventory continue? These are questions that I do not have the answer to, of course, because I'm not a dealer and I'm not an expert on the used vehicle market or on selling new vehicles. I've sold new cars, sold used cars, plenty of them in my life. However, not being a dealer, curious to get the dealer's perspective on what you see for your business in 2022. Additionally, there are, a lot of stores that we're talking to that our service departments are booked, not like by the week. I mean, booked in many cases a month out due to the huge increase in demand of the consumer to service their vehicles as a result of them having to keep those cars on the road longer. So you've got, diminished new vehicle inventory. You've got used vehicles that are going to continue to be difficult to acquire and are going to require significant financial investments to get. Are there going to be the margins there? And then you've got your service departments, which quite frankly could be overrun with customers who need to keep their car on the road. And then adding to that sort of complexity, you've got a shortage of technicians. Almost all of our dealers are running some sort of marketing campaign to get new technicians or hire additional technicians to meet the throughput, and are finding it very challenging. So you've got a lot of interesting things happening at the dealership level, which I think does need to be accounted for, obviously, moving into 2022. What type of, let's look at some of the negative outcomes to some of this. At what point, of course I'm going to end on the positive, but at what point does the consumer reach a level of frustration, right? I mean, you're already hearing about this, customers getting to the dealership, arguing and bickering over, whose car it is, and I claim that car first. I mean, is the dealership experience, does it have the potential to become very bad for the consumer for a number of reasons? One, customers who need cars can't get them. There's a level of frustration there. Two, are dealerships getting lazy in how they handle the customer? I've heard this in a number of different instances, but I specifically had a conversation with a friend the other day who was at a large Chevrolet dealership in Texas recently, and he was looking for a truck and spent 20 to 30 minutes out on the lot looking at what limited inventory they had, and not a single person came out to greet him. not after 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, finally walked inside. And essentially everybody who's working at the dealership is sitting inside, sitting at their desk, waiting for the customer to walk in. Why? Because they can, right? If you have a limited amount of cars and it's inevitable that there's going to be more customers for those cars than need be, it sounds like sales associates and dealerships in some cases are getting very lazy in terms of how they are handling the customer, which, I think we would all agree that's not the way you want to go. But how do you incentivize your staff, right? Like, how do you keep your sales staff particularly motivated to not become complacent? How do you keep a smaller number of staff motivated to continue to do the very best job when at the end of the day, it might be just as easy for them to just sit and wait for the customer to come in and write a big gross deal and move on? That's something that will have a negative impact on the customer experience over time. And at what point in time does that factor in? At what point in time do customers start to get, frustrated by the significant high values of used vehicles, right? So I'm not trying to point out negatives. These are just things that I see as potential operational challenges that dealers are going to have, in addition to managing the throughput of their service departments. So certainly there is a lot to look at from a business operation perspective moving forward into 2022. I'm certain the sharp dealers out there, of which there are thousands, are looking at their operations, trying to find ways to make sure that they're still providing the very best in customer service, to make sure that they're still delivering on their brand promise for their dealership, whether it be through really successfully navigating the new vehicle shortage through, helping customers order incoming units, helping customers order anything. I probably said that the same way twice. Helping them understand the situation with the used car market, and helping them understand, how now is a really good time to service their vehicle. So again, I feel like in this video, I'm touching on a lot of these topics at the same time. But from the dealer perspective, certainly there's a lot of interesting and unique challenges to operating your business. And will the the profitability margins, will the net profit margins that dealers are experiencing right now, will they continue? Or at some point in time, does this start to kind of collapse on itself? And if that's the case, how does the auto dealer prepare for that, right? What are things that the dealer can do? Now, from a marketing perspective, naturally, those of us on this side of the business are going to tell dealers that they really should continue to communicate to the marketplace, right? Now, just because you're dealing with this very unique incoming situation at your store, it can be very easy to overlook continually communicating to the marketplace, because at the end of the day, what are you going to say? We got no cars. Used cars have never cost more. Our service departments are backed up, and you might get aggravated. Like, obviously, no dealer is going to communicate that. But is there a way to communicate to your community as a whole a transparent message about what you're going through at your business in a way that is positive, right? In a way that says, we, your local dealer that's been serving you for 75 years, are experiencing a very interesting time in our business. And as a result of some of these challenges, we are reinvesting our time and energy to make sure that our business operations are operating at the highest level of conduct, that we are taking care of each and every customer to the very best of our ability. There are ways to secure new vehicles. There are ways to secure used vehicles that might take a little bit longer. There might be a little bit of extra challenge, but we're willing to work with every one of our customers to make sure that we're still providing the very best dealership experience for our customers. Because what dealerships obviously don't want to have happen is, particularly on the service side, If customers are starting to get frustrated by the time it's taking, if there's a slowness in throughput, well, many customers could move on to the, your Midases and Meinekes and other, service providers that are non-dealership. And, with the importance of a dealership database, obviously dealers don't want to lose customers to their competitors. But I think that from a communication perspective, it's important for dealers to communicate to the marketplace and communicate what's going on, how the customer can still be served in a very positive way, additional things that the dealer can provide the customer in forms of incentives or discounts for ordering incoming units, special service offers, pick up and drop off of service vehicles or of vehicles that need to be serviced in order for customers to have a better experience. There are things that dealers can say. Now, perhaps it's not time to be spending a lot of money on traditional media, but there are ways through really good video content, particularly on social and OTT, to be able to communicate these types of messages to your customers in a non-expensive way, right? Obviously, you don't want to spend any extra marketing dollars that are unnecessary at this point in time. But at the same time, I think all of us, and myself included on this side of the business, would say it's very important to continue having a meaningful message to your customers so that they understand what to expect when they come to the dealership, right? Because this is something that's gonna take a while, right? What if this continues 2022 into 2023, right? There's going to be a lot to deal with at the dealership level, and making sure that your customers have the right expectation as they come into your business. It's going to be helpful to you. It's going to be helpful to you. It's going to be helpful to your people. Another opportunity that I really see is perhaps 2022 is a great year for your business to reestablish its relationship with the community. These have been challenging times for many families around the country. And what better time to spend some time and energy as a local business owner in the community, reconnecting with the community. If sales are going to be down, if there might be throughput issues in service, why not use this as an opportunity to reconnect and recommit your business to the local community, to strengthen the relationship between your business and the community during this interesting time? Because at the end of the day, this time is going to pass. And how we go through it is really going to dictate how it turns out for us, right? So going through some of these interesting and challenging times with a really positive attitude and a focus on giving and help and giving back, I think there's a lot to be said for that. Not all business ROI is financial. And if dealers can use this time in 2022 to focus on the quality of their operations, continue to communicate to their customers in a way that shares with them transparently what's going on and what the customers can expect, and they can still do business with you and why they should. But at the same time, reconnect with your community, reconnect with your customers in a way that will last well past what is going to be perhaps another year in the car business. It'll come, it'll go, but there will be many dealers out there that will find the opportunities in these challenges and come out ahead. And I think the ones that really look at making sure that their operation does not become complacent, that they continue to stay sharp, up, positive, friendly, fun places to do business that are still attentive to the customer, even though there's high demand. And the businesses that really focus on the customer and the community are going to come out of this in a great position. Now, most dealers have made really good money this year, so there's some money to invest. And listen, I'm not here to spend anybody else's money. Obviously, you're all smart entrepreneurs and business people and know what to do, perhaps better than I do, I'm sure. But at the same time, it's a great opportunity to reinvest in the future of your business in different ways, not just, your traditional digital marketing or, traditional messaging to the marketplace, but connect with people, make your business viable and valuable to the people of your community. So When looking forward to 2022, those are the things that we're looking at here at the agency in terms of helping our dealers get through these interesting times, providing a level of support that they're going to continue to need, providing resources, intelligence, strategy, content. That's what we do. And we are here for all of you through this time. So I think that hits all my notes here. Let's see, I had all my little notes right there. But I'd be really curious to get feedback from those of you that will take the time to watch and or listen to this video. Feel free to leave comments. As always, it'd be great if you could subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Herman Agency, so that you get updated on our content. Reach out to us in any one of the links in the description of the video, and many of you know you can reach me directly on mobile. My number is 305-607-5544. That's me, Chris Herman. Another episode of On Deck. I hope you got something out of it, and more importantly, I look to get something out of it in the form of continued conversation with all of you, our friends, our clients, our dealer partners, and those of you that we have not yet met but hope to someday. So from here in Fort Lauderdale at the Herman Agency, right here at the On Deck desk, I bid you farewell and hope you have a great day. Thank you.